Pat Doris, welcome to the story. I'm sure you've heard the line, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Yeah, a lot of us have. It's a lot easier to say that than to do it, but people actually do. And with all the doom and gloom in our world tonight, we thought we should highlight a local example of that very thing. That's our big story tonight. Now, I know some of you are real news junkies, and I say that as a compliment because I am too, and you'll watch any hard news that's on. But others of you get tired of all the reporting we do on failed drug policies and failed homeless programs and government dysfunction. We see your emails. Sometimes you just want a break. Our first story tonight is your break. It'll start out very soft, as we say in the business, but hang in there. It's a powerful story about overcoming obstacles and how life's lemons can lead to unexpected sweetness. Here's Laurel Porter.
Hi, my name is Finnegan, but you can call me Finny.
This dragon doesn't roar, he sings.
The itsy bitsy spider.
Are you ready? Yeah.
He's making a lot of friends at the Community Action Head Start in Hillsboro.
Listen.
Finnegan.
And helping them get ready to read.
Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout.
They love Finnegan. They love the character. They love the curriculum, the activities, just everything about it.
Shining in the sun.
Finnegan is the center of a classroom curriculum to support language development,
You did so good.
Again.
a game,
What's happening to Finnegan?
a
What's he
book,
doing? Where is he? Where's he going? Sebastian.
even a plush
What do
stuffy.
you have?
Dada.
Dragon.
It was overwhelming because I didn't
What are you reading, Aaliyah?
anticipate them
You're reading Finnegan?
just being so excited about the character-driven curriculum.
Is it blue? Put it on the glue.
And the
so it
story
stays.
of how Finnegan was born
Your dragon? Yeah, we
Oh,
are.
look at that.
is worthy of a fairy tale.
Hi, my name is Finnegan.
Meet Emily Cadiz,
The itsy
Bitsy spider.
Finnegan's creator.
If you're happy and you know it,
Clap your hands.
And while she brought this lovable dragon to life, Finnegan brought purpose back to hers.
Clap your hands.
Emily's life was worth singing about, full of crowning achievements.
Emily Orton, Miss Oregon.
Miss Oregon, 1995. Then,
It was the 90s, big hair. That is how a 19-year-old does their makeup when they think they're doing it well.
the Miss America pageant. Her platform, literacy.
A mentor can't change someone's life, but they can give them the love.
And at just 19, she impressed with her talent, singing an aria from the opera Carmen in French.
It's in French. I'm going to sing it in French. So I did.
The winner of a $30,000.
She was named Miss America first runner-up.
We would just play dress up in her clothes and pretend that we were in Miss America. And
Her daughters would later think she was royalty.
I thought she was an actual princess.
oh my gosh, it was so much fun. We would try on all of her dresses.
Emily used her Miss America scholarship money to attend Columbia University and would follow a family of teachers into education as a special ed teacher.
And then all of a sudden this happens, and it was like hitting a brick wall. I mean, she came to a complete stop.
Her crown would crack.
I can tell you that that it was life-changing. That it was that it affected my family.
In 2015, she was attacked by a student in the classroom and suffered a severe brain injury.
You don't want to admit how bad it is, and it is very bad.
She lost her ability to speak, not knowing how to say common words.
I couldn't speak at all. There were like times when people would, ask me what I needed, and I would describe it by using almost every word. I just remember asking someone one time, I was like, I need the thing that's silver that has prongs at the end that you use for the salad. And the woman just looked at me and said, a fork?
She was depressed,
the word.
couldn't work, sometimes couldn't get out of bed.
I ended up losing my house. I ended up just really at like the lowest point that you can get.
It wasn't until months later, when she reconnected with her passion for music, she started to improve.
Someday I'll wish upon a star.
She applied to Portland State University's graduate music program
Oh, the dream.
and discovered music was healing her brain.
Dare to dream.
And she was coming as someone who was trying to reimagine herself.
Bonnie Mix is PSU's director of the School of Music and Theater.
She was still carrying the burden of that trauma when she came to us.
In your heart, I see the stars.
They gave me a safe space to heal.
And in that healing and discovering the science of music and its connection to language, Finnegan the Singing Dragon was born as Emily's master's thesis project.
Hi, my name is Finnegan.
Combining her love of music with her passion for teaching.
You hear that?
She's an entrepreneur, you know, and she's making an impact.
This is our Finnegan. He's our little dragon who doesn't have fire. We are at the Portland Incubator Experience. We focus on language development for classroom curriculum.
From a master's project during the pandemic to a startup business.
That's so cool. Thank you. Itsy bitsy.
Finnegan grew into a game using music and phonetic sounds with a lovable dragon.
There he goes.
For adventure-based early language development.
Very cool concept.
Finnegan is this little dragon that doesn't have fire, so he uses song in place of that. That's the story.
Row, row, row your boat.
And so he guides the kids through this adventure to search for his fire.
Oh, life is but a dream.
For kids 2 to 6, an age group Emily says doesn't get enough attention.
We are the first preschool curriculum that's character-driven.
Wow, who's this?
Back at the Hillsborough Head Start,
Finnegan, who's this?
where Finnegan was first tested as a pilot project.
Who's this?
I mean, it engages the children like nothing I've seen.
Listen.
This fall, it expanded to 20 Head Start sites. Both Finnegan and Emily, his creator, are finding their fire.
It was an opportunity for her to really kind of reinvent herself. And Finnegan the Dragon, I like to think sometimes kind of helped save her.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Seeing Finnegan bring that spark back into her life was really beautiful.
That's what Finnegan has done. It's just repurposed my life and given me, you know, a good hustle. I'm hustling.
This fairy tale has no ending. It's still being written. As Finnegan's quest to find his fire lights a new chapter for both Emily and, she hopes, for preschoolers across the country.
Hooray!
Laurel's with me now, and wow, what an amazing story. How is she doing physically and mentally?
I know you really care about that. We just love Emily. She had such a tough time, but she seems to be completely recovered, which is amazing.
The music did that, brought her back.
Yes, that's what she says.
It's astounding.
And she's working really hard to get Finnegan into classrooms. She hopes to get into more classrooms in 2024. She's working to get grants, Pat. And also she is a finalist at the Bend Venture Conference on Thursday, hoping to get some venture capital. So we're really rooting for her.
Congratulations to her. And what if preschool teachers want to get this?
Well, preschool teachers can access this as well as parents and any individual on the website. Just go to FinneganTheDragon.com. And if you'd like to help a school in need, just click the button that says Help a School, and you can help provide Finnegan to a school that needs the help.
I know she's interested in both parents and preschool teachers, so I'm glad we get both of those covered.
Well, she wants to really put a focus on preschool teachers and make sure they have the tools that they need to effectively teach preschoolers. And she wants to give them the respect, the dignity and the thoughtfulness that preschool teachers deserve, and an adequate salary, because they are so important to our children's future success.
Yeah, well, and you could see how those kids were engaged immediately with
I know, they
Finnegan.
loved him, and that little stuffed dragon too.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Laurel. Good
You're
stuff.
welcome. My pleasure.
Up next on The Story, we're going back to the well for you news junkies out there. Neighbors frustrated about open-air drug use outside of a Northeast Portland clinic that offers addiction services, why it's become a popular homeless hangout, and what the company running the clinic is saying about it when The Story returns.
I use drugs because I'm homeless, and I'm homeless because I use drugs.
What a cycle. A Northeast Portland medical clinic that offers addiction services has become a magnet for drug users. Now, you might think that'd be great because the resources to get them off those drugs are right on the other side of those doors. But like many addiction services in our area, you can't just walk in. There's a waiting list, and it's not short. The homeless describe the clinic as a popular hangout, and some are on that waiting list to get in, but until that time, they continue using their drugs nearby, and that has neighbors frustrated. Our Blair Best has the story.
There's no one explanation as to why drug users choose to gather where they do.
There's a lot of reasons.
For Sonny, he hangs outside the Blackburn Center in Northeast Portland, a medical clinic offering addiction services.
Oh yeah, I tried to get in here a few times. It's really difficult because they're backed up.
He's already been through detox 6 times. He smokes meth by the front door, waiting for another bed.
So when I get out, I have nowhere else to go, so I come back here and then get high again eventually.
It's just the neighborhood hangout.
That's affecting neighbors like Julie English, who lives a few streets down.
I think it's horrible. They're supposed to treat people for drugs, and it's available to them right outside. It shouldn't be there at all.
She drives past the center several times a week.
A friend of mine, his son does fentanyl, and that's where he goes to get his fentanyl.
Now, just across the street from this intersection is the Menlo Park Safe Rest Village, which many of the people camping outside the Blackburn Center say they would like to get into. But just like getting access to a detox center, getting referred into the village isn't easy.
A long waiting list, dude. There's a lot of people that won't need places to live in.
Central City Concern runs the Blackburn Center. They told KGW in a statement that they are very aware of occasional drug use outside the center, and they're working with neighbors, law enforcement, and other partners to create a safe and welcoming environment.
And it angers me to think that, the drug treatment center is not policing their building correctly.
We're told there's private security guards to mitigate open-air drug use. Staff on site tells us it's recently gotten better, but that there's only so much they can do. In Northeast Portland, Claire Best, KGW News.
Sounds like a lot of frustration on both sides. The story demonstrates a big problem here that we've reported on many times before. It's the lack of addiction services in Portland. Last month, Multnomah County commissioners approved more than $26 million for behavioral health, stabilization, and housing. $10 million of that is going towards withdrawal management and sobering capacity to help those addicts. You'll recall that money came from the county's unanticipated $62 million meant for homeless services. Let's move on now to a question from a viewer about the drug crisis. This person wanted to know if drug dealers can be charged with murder if they sell drugs to someone who ends up overdosing and dying. Seems kind of logical, and it also seems like it happens all the time. I saw a crew from the coroner's office picking up a body just blocks from the TV station here in Portland on Friday. It was in an area where I've often seen people doing drugs. Oregon has seen a massive uptick in overdose deaths. They've been climbing every year for the past 4 years. This is footage of an incident back in May when 8 people in Portland died of overdoses in a single weekend. The Oregon Health Authority says in 2022, 934 people died of unintentional overdoses. Compare that to 2019 when the number was only 280, which is still way too many. So our Verify team looked into that question of whether drug dealers can face murder charges in Oregon. They found that for the most part, the answer is no. But there are still legal consequences for dealers in that situation. Here are the sources we used: the Prescription Drug Abuse Policy System at Temple University, the Action Lab at the Center for Health Policy and Law, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Oregon and Central California. But what we found is that no, Oregon does not allow prosecutors to charge drug dealers for murder if someone they sell to dies by an overdose. Lawmakers have tried to get a law locally on the books, but it has not taken off. Many states do have laws allowing for those kinds of charges, but not Oregon. A study this year from the Legislative Analysis and Public Policy Association found that about 31 states have laws on drug-induced homicide and drug delivery resulting in death. Oregon lawmakers did try to pass a similar law back in 2019. It was House Bill 2797. It would have created a sentencing enhancement for convicted drug dealers if someone died. It would have imposed a mandatory minimum prison sentence, but the bill died itself in committee, meaning it did not get very far. Turns out the idea of charging dealers for someone's death is somewhat controversial in some areas. The Drug Policy Alliance argues that it undermines Good Samaritan laws. There have been several cases where friends, family, and dealers have faced drug charges for calling for help when someone's overdosing. Advocates say laws holding dealers accountable for someone's death means they'll be less likely to call for help. But federal prosecutors do have more options than state prosecutors when it comes to charges and sentencing enhancements. For example, earlier this year, a Portland man named Daniel Weaver was sentenced to 12 years in prison. He sold fake oxycodone pills that were laced with fentanyl, and a man in Hillsborough died. But he was not charged with murder or any kind of homicide charge, only drug charges like intent to distribute. But prosecutors were able to get a sentencing enhancement because of that Hillsborough man's death, and a higher level drug dealer in the same case got the same sentencing enhancement. In California last year, 7 people were charged with distribution of fentanyl resulting in death. But not every federal case leads to charges in someone's death, even if prosecutors can link the dealer to a deadly overdose. Interesting stuff. If you've got questions for our local Verify team, you can send them our way. Email thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail. The number is 503-226-5090. Coming up next on The Story, you flooded our inboxes with your memories of the Viewmaster toys that were built in Beaverton for more than a half century. We'll share some of your thoughts, and we'll also take a trip down to the KGW vault as many of you remind us about the health concerns for employees who worked there before it all shut down. All that and more when The Story returns. Thanks to so many of you who filled our email and voicemail boxes last night. Your comments poured in after our Digging for Old segment that explored the history of the Viewmaster toy and its ties to Portland and Beaverton. We have several voicemails to share with you, but one of them really stood out. Here's a viewer named Suzanne.
I'm still shaking. Ed Mayer is my father and started Sawyer's way back before I was born. I'm 90. And I just was so thrilled to see that story. You did a great job, and I'm so pleased that that was on TV. And my kids are too. They're all taping your story. So just wanted you to know that I appreciated that so much.
Well, thank you, Suzanne. You're very welcome. And for the rest of us, you heard right. That's the daughter of the man who helped bring the Viewmaster to market and slingshot it into national fame. She's still right here, still watches the story. How cool is that? We think it's pretty awesome. Thanks, Suzanne, for calling in. We also loved hearing about all of your Viewmaster memories.
Thanks for your GAF Viewmaster segment. My aunt godmother worked there forever, and as a kid I was blessed with all that stuff, and your story kind of brought her back to life. Thank you very much.
And Ray wrote to us. Most summers from 67 to 75, we would drive cross country, stopping at tourist destinations. I would buy Viewmaster slides at each site to add to my collection. I can remember begging for the new Viewmaster projector for Christmas in 1970. After getting it, I would sit by the hour viewing my slides on my new projector. I put my love of nature and history to use as a teacher for over 30 years. Thanks for the walk down memory lane.
That Viewmaster was wonderful. If we go on vacation, we buy one from wherever we visited, put it in Viewmaster, and to be able to show people where we were, and what a exciting thing that was. I wish I'd have kept mine, but it's just that you can't keep everything you get.
That's very true. How about this from Michael? Winters in Detroit could be deep and cold growing up in the 50s. Viewmaster took me all around the world. Thanks for the memories.
Viewmaster, that took me back to a happy place. I inherited my mother's Viewmaster, which looked like that black metal one that you showed, and her reels. She grew up in the desert Southwest, and some of those reels of looking at saguaro cactuses and cactus blooms through the 3D images of places I've never been was absolutely magical. I added 2 of my own reels. I had some from the then Washington Park Zoo. I still have it tucked away somewhere, and one of my grandnieces or nephews is going to get it pretty soon. But thanks for a great memory. Awesome.
I hope you find it. Thanks again for all those wonderful voicemails. My wife, Jackie, by the way, reminded me that her grandmother, Marguerite, worked there too. A few of you were quick to point out to us that there's one more part of the local Viewmaster story that you wanted to make sure we remembered, even if it's not so wonderful and nostalgic as many of us recall.
I just have to tell you, yes, I loved the Viewmaster as a child as well here in Portland and Oregon, and but it was when I became an adult and went to nursing school that I learned about the pollution it left in Beaverton in the water and how people got sick from it. So that's another little twist on the Viewmaster.
Yep, and you learned correctly. It was not all fun and games out along Hall Boulevard in present-day Beaverton. And for that part of the story, let's head into the KGW vault for part of a story from reporter Vince Patton in May of 2002.
For decades, workers poured out popular Viewmaster toys, and every day they drank poisoned water piped into the plant's drinking fountains.
I remember the water was very cold and sweet.
As a child, Amanda Evans remembers the drinking fountain near her father's office at Viewmaster. No one knew it then, but the chemical degreaser Viewmaster had dumped out back for 30 years until 1980 had seeped down into the well that supplied their water. Even after 1990, when the law required that the water be tested for chemicals, Viewmaster never did it, and the state says it didn't enforce the requirement because it never knew the water here was being used for human consumption. When tests finally happened in 1998, trichloroethylene, or TCE, showed up in the groundwater at 300 times above the federal.
It wasn't until 2011 when TCE was officially declared a human carcinogen. It was listed as a probable cancer-causing agent before that. Not exactly the legacy that you would like to think about when it comes to our local connection to Viewmaster, but we would agree with those of you who reminded us about it. It is an important part of its history. Thousands in our area were affected. Hey, that's the end of our show. Thanks so much for watching. Remember the story, our collective story, that never ends. Apparently Viewmaster's story never ends either. You can get them online now. Have a good night.